My name's Hamp Townsell the fourth. It's not short. My first name is not short for nothing. I'm from North Minneapolis, Minnesota. Born and raised. My whole life, I'm 29 years of age. 29 years old. My father's from Gary, Indiana. He came to Minnesota around the early 80s or so, early 80s or something, and met my mother.
Well, now we talk about the fourth, and we were just talking about lineage right now. Have you looked back at the first Hamp? Where did the first Hamp come from?
I wasn't really told too many stories as a youth, as a young man, growing up. I just know my great grandfather was named Hamp Townsell, my grandfather, and my father. But it was a mix-up in the names with my grandfather and my father. His name is actually legally Junior. So, but he goes by the third, but it's as a family matter. But as far as legally, he's Junior. But he named me legally the fourth. Because of that misunderstanding in the family.
So the lineage goes back to Gary, Indiana?
Gary, Indiana, yes, sir.
Have you been back to Gary, Indiana?
Yes, I have visited a few times. My father tried to keep me out of that part because it's, not too suitable, I guess, for a young man.
Well, I mean, you know the history of Gary, Indiana, right?
Yeah, I know.
It was prosperous. It was it had a lot of jobs going on then.
Michael Jackson things, it's good things that come from Gary, Indiana. A lot of people that, that made it successful without the, traumatize or mentality of whatever they was going on in their environment.
Do you see any parallels between the north side of Minneapolis and Gary, Indiana at all, or are those two totally different places?
No, actually it's kind of what's similar. It's kind of what's similar.
How so?
Far as the community environments, the poverty, the homes, things like that. Gary, Indiana is just more. It's kind of a little worse though. It's no businesses. It's maybe one liquor store right here, Family Dollar store right here, and nothing else is miles away. So it's kind of.
I remember passing through there on tour, and it looked like a parade had gone through and nobody cleaned up.
Yeah, exactly.
Just kind of neglected.
Yeah, kind of neglected a lot. Abandoned houses, trees, and grass up to here, not been trimmed down, not been cut. So it's kind of worse, a lot worse a little bit though.
Yeah, well, North Minneapolis, I guess you got murals, you got coffee shops, you got, some neighborhood, support organizations around there. How is I guess the north side of Minneapolis evolved since you grew up there to now?
We went to the Boys and Girls Club called Gary Jamble. For boys and girls. It's called Tangle Town, North Minneapolis. This is where we grew up a lot, went for free lunches, things like that. My growing up, my youth was kind of, different from others that I hung around with. They had the mother and father. I somewhat had my father for the majority of my childhood. Other than that, I had to survive on my own as a young man.
When you say the majority of your childhood and then you say surviving on your own, those sound like two different things. Do you mean he was there all the time and then during the day you had to survive on your own, or what do you mean by that?
I mean up until 15. Okay. Up until I was 15 years old, freshman in high school, that's when I had no parenting.
Okay, so then what'd you do? Or did you just did you have a house or did you?
I stayed in an abandoned house with my friends. Okay. So when their mothers kicked them out, or just because we thought we was grown, or wanted to be a part, but not. That was my friend choices. My choices when my mother was on drugs. She was on drugs, doing heavy drugs. And my father, he raised me. He was on drugs as well, alcoholic, things like that. But he made himself sober to get custody of us because my mother had 8 kids. That was in Minnesota. My father has maybe 12 to 15. Who knows? To spread around the United States. So at that young age, I had a good father, as far as he thought money was the way to mold me into being a young man. but
money?
I need money.
Okay.
So he'll take care of me financially. A roof over my head,
provide,
clothes on my back.
Yeah.
But never showed me the way as far as what I needed to realize to prepare for society.
So my question is, we'll get back to that to the abandoned house, because I think it's a very important landmark. But the idea of like when you reflect on your father showing you love by money, does that affect you as a human today on how you express love or receive love?
Yes. So
then how do you change that, or do you keep it the same way?
I have 3 kids. I have a son. He's 11 years old.
Okay.
I kind of felt myself doing the same thing.
Okay.
But I feel like knowledge is life. Life is knowledge.
Yeah.
So I try to install more positivity, knowledge inside of him, to let him know this is not the only way you can go far as, because people get greedy with money.
Yeah.
It's a lot of greed in money, but it's what you do with the money, or how you take care of your family or your community or your peers with that money. So
but also in regards of money, but like in an expression of love, do you try to change the way, or do you try
love and affection?
Do you try to change the way that you as a father approach your children as opposed to the way that your father approached you?
Yes, sir. I do, in a way of like, far as education. I'm more hands-on with the homework. I'm more hands-on with activities. Teaching my son credit is good. Teaching my son a stable job is good. Teaching my 401k, things like that. Things we don't prepare our young men or young children today in this world, because they don't teach it in, so.
Man, think about that back in like elementary school. How useful would that have been to teach like financial literacy?
I didn't want to say it, but
financial literacy.
Literacy,
Man, I didn't learn about a credit score until I was like,
2 times 2, we got that, right? We got the 5 times 5.
2 times 2.
We
but
got
like
that.
A credit score, it's like, here's how to save, that's wild, man.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, how useful do you think financial literacy is to kids now?
I think it's very more, it's more important than it used to be.
Okay.
I say, because of the wages, far as the jobs, the income, the 2 times the rent, just jobs, period, the community, things that we go through, far as, government things we can't really, but as far as what we can do in our own city, it's more than people know. It's more important than people, realize sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, it's huge. It's huge. I mean, like, a lot of my friends, they went off to college, and then, they either the parents paid for it or somebody else paid for it.
Yeah.
But if they didn't pay for it and they had student loans, next thing you know, I mean, you got a $120K tab.
Yeah.
You got to pay for it? Right. You can pay for that for the next 20 years of your life.
Yeah.
But to rewind real quick, back, so the thing that you said that stuck out to me, you were 15 in an abandoned house with your friends. Mm-hmm. What happens there? I mean, like you say that your mother and father are checked out, and I mean, do you still go to school, or what's the day to day?
I still went to school.
Okay.
I still went to school because I was determined.
Okay. Even though you didn't have to. I mean, like, you're like on your own doing whatever.
Yeah. Right. My friends motivated me too as well. You got that best bud, that pal right there. That's what we need. Even if we don't get it from other places, you're still like, bro, okay, we gotta do this. Even though we're living like this, we gotta go do this. So I got up every morning, every morning that I was motivated to get up and go learn, and still, not only for the girls and things like that, plus I needed the lunch. I needed the education, I needed to eat. I felt like, if I missed those meals at school or those, and everything came into as a bone, okay, education, okay, free lunch, okay, the girls, so it's like, okay, let me get up and go continue to do that.
So you went to school. Lunch was part of going to school. It was like, all right, let me get food. Yeah. So then you go through school. Do you graduate, or what happens?
No, I didn't graduate. In the midst of all that, 15, still trying to take care of myself. I was another stereotypic young black man, if I'm saying it right.
Stereotypical?
Stereotypical. That's what I was going to say. Stereotype. Yeah, like that.
What do you mean by stereotype?
Into the trap of, groups, gangs, violence, drugs, things like that kind of fall into that trap of trying to make a way out and, misguided.
When you say trying to make a way out, though, most of the people I knew that were in gangs when I was growing up, they were there because they needed, they needed a tribe, they needed people around them. It wasn't because they were like, wow, we want to be violent every day, They just needed people around them. What was the reason for you?
Brotherhood. Brotherhood was it? It was for, if we didn't have our parents, we have each other. If we can't trust no one else, at least we could trust each other. If I don't have it, he has it. So it's a more of a thing of taking care of each other, not trying to go out and take money from people or go do, involve ourselves with illegal activities all the time. As far as we just did what we wanted to had to do to survive. We still went to basketball, the Far View, the youth programs, the basketball tournaments, things to keep ourselves out of trouble and not carry, illegal things always into legal activities. But like you said, that's where it starts at, forming the brotherhood, forming something. And
when you're in the brotherhood, is there a sense of protection of the brotherhood? Like, if somebody touches my brother, then I gotta deal with you now.
To a certain extent.
Yeah.
To a certain extent, there was always limitations to things. We didn't want to criminalize ourselves with trouble more than we had to, and bring attention on ourselves. We just wanted to have fun as kids. I
remember Nipsey Hussle talking about pressing the line, and there's certain points where it's like, you might have somebody from a different group in the center. It's like, I don't want to press the line. Look, you just got to go. There won't be no trouble here. But so then you, as you say, you enter into the stereotype of a black male, and then don't graduate high school. What happens from there? Like, you just try to get a job, or
no? For 15 to 16, I got caught with a firearm. At 16 years old, I got caught with a firearm, going to a party. Hanging out on the block, things like that, hanging with group guys, just feel like just protect our people, our area, as far as, and it was more of a scare, a fear. It wasn't to go harm anything, it was a fear. A fear of getting harmed. Like I said, around the time that my brother was charged with murder, my older brother, I looked at him like a father too as well. He was around that time. That was at 10 years old. He got charged with murder. A couple years later, I lost my big cousin. So not only at 12, 10 years old that I'm going through that, at 14, 15, 16, I lose my mother and father as well. So now I'm dealing with all these things now. My mom always told me, if you can't trust me, at least you could trust God. So so at that, she installed that into my brain, and I just felt like, who can I trust? Well, I'm gonna answer, try to follow, the way of God. But I got this always in my ear, things. So it was just really for my protection. It wasn't to harm anyone.
Oh, well, also the environment. My question is to give people context in that environment. Why would you need protection?
Not only what they mislead us with information or lied to us about, or stories that we might have heard, not through only slavery, but or through other activities back in the day, like Frank Lucas and things like that. Stories like that. But far as that, protecting ourselves just from others that might be a little more wild than us in the head. A little more, got a little more going on mentally than others,
And you've seen it before. You can feel the energy when you go into the room, and you can tell somebody is a little bit on the edge or unhinged.
Exactly.
You could feel that. Like in coffee shops, like you're like, that dude might pop off.
So
just for protection. So you get caught with the firearm, and you do time for it, or what happens?
Yes, I do time. From 15 to 16, in the midst of me, 16 getting caught with the firearm, my son, my first child, mom lets me stay with her. And it was against her rules, and a lot of things that she had limited to us staying in a room at night, things like that, sometimes like that, but you know how kids is. So that's how I kind of got out of around at the age of 16 out of abandoned house and homeless. Getting caught with the firearm. Now I go to JDC, Juvenile Detention Center, downtown Minneapolis.
Okay.
Once I go there, she's still there, my son's mother. She calls, I call home. She tells me that she's pregnant.
Okay. Well.
So now I'm dealing with a firearm charge. They didn't try me as an adult, but because I had no priors or anything like that. That was kind of like my first.
You're also 16.
16, yeah, I'm a juvenile.
But they're gonna try you for an adult for
Yeah, because there's a lot of kids that get tried as an adult.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen the documentary on Netflix.
Yeah,
they call us monsters or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. So it goes on in a lot of different states. So even and I just that's the justice system, but it not saying it is right.
Yeah.
But a lot of things we have to change and look into just for the youth or for, because there's a lot of things that go with that.
Oh, yeah.
We got to do something better with that.
Well, that system goes right.
Yeah. We're going to leave that right there. But so I find out that I'm having a child and dealing with the firearm case. I go. Yeah. They sentenced me to Wisconsin, all the way in Wyalusing Academy, Wisconsin.
Okay.
Wisconsin, I was there. They gave me a job, off-campus job at Hardee's. So I was working there. It was a lot of good opportunities, things, a lot of change. I get home passes when I do good. Mm-hmm. That only worked for so long because I was, dealing with what I was dealing with mentally. And it wasn't medication or things that needed to help me that they try to shove at me. It was, really and opening up, embracing myself and teaching me the way of life and the way of understanding life and the way of understanding people and the humans and people around your peers, understanding the body language. Like you say, you might walk into a coffee, and shop and see somebody mentally, not there. Yeah. You should approach that person in a different way instead of approaching them with, like certain things.
Yeah, barking at them.
I had to learn that.
So my question is, when you say you were dealing with what you were dealing with, what were you dealing with when you were at the Hardee's in Wisconsin?
Not seeing my brothers, not seeing my sisters. Mama still doing drugs, father there, but still not teaching me how to be a man. Still showing me, the greed of money, the attention of money, but not showing me attention of, son, let me help you get a home. Yeah. Let me help you get a house. Mm-hmm. Let me help you with this work. Let me put something aside for you. Yeah. Let me do, if it's not money, as far as, that you shoving at me, okay, let me teach you at the age of 16, 17, 18, how to be a man and get your own home. Yeah.
And did you miss them when you were in Wisconsin?
Yes, a lot, because I was like in a farm or something. I was like far. It's like hours to get back home. So I was like, my mom, my dad, my brothers, my sisters, oh my God, then I have a baby. I have a baby now, right? So now I'm getting pictures, and I gotta be a man. I gotta, like, when I'm looking at this picture, that's emotional. It's like, I don't know what to do. I'm
scared. You separated from all this. So do you devise a plan in your head? Okay, this is how I'm gonna get back.
Yes, kind of. Yes, in a way, as a young man. I went to Red Wing though. Red Wing is kind of where I got me together.
Is it still on the firearm charge?
No, same firearm charge. Yeah, I got kicked out of the Wyalusing Academy for behavior. Spazzes that I used to do as a young man.
And when you say spazzes, were you like violent? Were you just like you close up and be silent?
Temper tantrums.
Okay.
Not physically hurt nobody. I never caught a charge. Never physically hurt nobody.
Is it verbal?
Verbal. Okay. I was very nasty verbally. Yes,
okay.
I'd learned that you can hurt persons verbally to anything.
Well, yeah, but also, I mean, like the thing is, I like to say, the thing I reflect upon is that verbally is how some people process.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then some systems will be like, whoa, we need to put you in solitary. And it's like,
it's exactly like that.
Processing it.
Yeah. As teachers, as a young man too, my mom used to say, you raise your voice, talk loud. The environment I lived in, I don't know, I guess. Anyway, so.
So you're in Red Wing now.
So I'm in Red Wing now.
Same firearm charge. How long has it been now? How much time have we?
From 16 to 18. It's 2 years.
Okay.
Away from home.
Yeah.
So from Wyalusing Academy, I got home passes. Red Wing, no home passes. I was in about a year. So Red Wing was good. It was a good teaching environment. They did baseball games. They did basketball games. I was actually around people I knew, grew up with, family. My son's mother side of the family, her brother.
Okay.
that I was kind of in that environment with, because all the way out there was the farm. Here is the inner city. So now I could relate to more things that's going on, more familiar faces, more, things how, that got me comfortable. So with that being said, I was always bounced around a lot as a kid, so I didn't graduate. And that was kind of like that in facilities. I was always bounced around, so I never got to complete my GED or diploma.
Oh, okay.
Which I was still in my diploma at this time. But I never got to complete it because I was discharged at 18 from Red Wing.
Okay. So you got discharged from Red Wing.
Yep.
Like the movies, they show them, they just walk out and the big gate opens and they take whatever their belongings are.
Kind of similar.
Okay.
Kind of similar.
So you get your belongings. Is there a car waiting for you outside?
A van, yes.
So then you go straight back to Minneapolis?
Straight back to Minneapolis.
You get back to Minneapolis, what happens?
My father picked me up, met me, whatever. I met with him and my mother. My mother's kind of doing good at this point in time, still relapsing back and forth. But after that, kind of got a job at I got a job at Twin Cities Target Field.
Okay.
The Target Field. Twins baseball stadium. I got a job there. They hired me. I wrote down no felony because I had no felony as an adult. Now I'm an adult now. Yeah. But somebody in their corporation had brought up my juvenile case because it was charged with a felony. So I got fired from that beautiful job at the Twin Stadium, right? I was so happy.
You're at the stadium. I mean, that had to be nice because that's, I think, around right when it opened.
Yeah, right there when it opened. Yeah.
Did you find it ironic that they were willing to employ you at a Hardee's while you were, in juvie, but yet they weren't willing to employ you when you got out at Target Field?
Somewhere where I grew up at, familiar with. Yeah. That hurts the most when this is where I come from.
Yeah.
And somewhere that I didn't come from was willing to hire me with all different type of people that's not, my race or ethnicity or familiarity.
When you were when you were in juvie, when you were in Wisconsin, when you were in Red Wing, did you notice any parallel or through line to the treatment or the culture in each of those centers?
Far as, what do you mean, like far as the Red Wing or the academy and then Red Wing?
Yeah, was the idea always to try to because we talk about this idea with when you talk about the verbal spats, was there always a agenda to control you? Or not?
No, I felt like it is. It's mental control is more powerful than people understand.
Okay.
Mental control, because it has done in our society for many years. Mental control can be you start by mental, and then you go into behavior patterns, and then you go into medication. See, I have learned all of this. Right now, my daughter's mom is taking subconscious mind in college right now. She's gonna get a degree in that. But I like to study that on my own too. But it was So
my question is, even to this day, or soon, well, maybe we can start with after, when you got back to Minneapolis, did you find yourself mentally following any kind of patterns that you had in the corrections facility?
Yes.
Well,
I was waking up in the morning. My body couldn't shake it. I was always waking up early. That's one thing they broke us with is waking up early. And then it comes off the pattern of eating, the pattern of not to eat, the pattern of the way you learn to walk, or if you was in like boot camp, you get to 10. I was always told to say yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am. My father and my mother have taught me that manners. If anything else they didn't do, they have taught me manners. But I have also learned that in academy and things like that. So yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am.
Has it changed the way that you view law enforcement at all?
Yes.
Like, how do you feel when you see like a cop pull around and you might be just minding your business?
I'm gonna tell you a story, right?
Okay.
In between all of this, at the age after 18, boom. Okay. It did change my mind, is not as much as now, until I started experiencing more with law enforcement. But I had dealt with the situation that I went down to the county for.
Okay.
My son is 2 now. I'm home.
Yeah.
I get locked up for a minor situation. I'm out.
Okay.
He's at 2. He's 2 years old.
Yeah.
He tells me, Dad, I hate the police.
Oh, he's 2 years old.
He's 2 years old, right?
Huh.
But I'm only in the county. So now I'm wondering, I installed this into my son at an early age, at 2 years old. So that's what kind of had me for like, oh wow.
Well, I mean, like.
But it was because they had beat me. It was a problem with that. But he said this, that too. But I was dealing with a situation where they had, Minneapolis police had, kind of beat me up and things like that, and was in that kind of.
So the thing you just said, like in your language, you said, I don't know if I'm saying it verbatim, but like you brought this situation to your son.
Mm-hmm.
But who brought the situation to you?
The police.
But exactly, and so when we talk about you getting beat up or whatever specifics it is, do you think it was necessary to beat you up to get you in line with whatever situation was going on?
No.
So then, so right there, what you're saying is, if your son says, "I hate the police," you got beat up by the police, you're in a situation, the onus. Do you put the ownership on you or on the police?
I didn't look at it like that.
Okay, understood. I'm just trying to go down the line here.
It's always a line. It's always.
Well, it goes back to somewhere.
Yeah, it goes back to somewhere. Exactly. I didn't look at it like that until now. I'm gonna be honest with you, and it's touching, but it's funny. That I have to laugh at, because I blame myself. And that's why I plan to do better. I plan to change things in the community that he grows up in, with politics, law enforcement, justice, anything that I have to reach out to change, or the will to do. That's what I'm going to try to do for the upcoming generation, or for my son and them, because I blame myself. But like you said, it goes back to somewhere. So I was only at the wrong place, wrong time kind of situation. I didn't
Well, wrong place, wrong time. Could you say wrong skin tone as well? I mean, like. If we're being like blatant about it, because the idea,
you could say that.
Because the thing that I wanted to say is that if we're talking about you want this change, does some of that change have to be the change that you make for things that you've internalized from your life or have been told from being punished? So like for so long. So when you talk about Red Wing, Wisconsin, juvie, and you wake up in the morning and say yes or no, sir, these things you've internalized, do you ever have to like rewire some of the other internalizations that you've made as well? Like perchance in like your relationship to like cops or even to white society, like in the idea that, oh wow, that you've internalized some things that have happened in these correctional facilities. Do you have to change that, or do you discover that?
You have to. You have to.
Okay.
Because my story is not only just I can a lot of people can relate to my story as well. I have a kind of deep story, and it goes a little deeper though. But we have a certain amount of time. Yeah. Actually, a cop in Minneapolis, not no names, no nothing like that, told a person of that they wished they could kill me.
Wow.
So
this cop knew you personally?
Yeah, knew me personally. He's the cop that I was been dealing with since juvenile. But I never knew that I had this target on my back.
Wow.
You know what I mean? I never knew I had that target on my back.
Yeah.
Especially for somebody I'm supposed to feel safe with or around.
Yeah.
Or help change the community to help change me, and help change me to help change the community. Yeah. Go hand in hand. But once somebody told me that, I knew I had to open up my eyes to come to reality. Like, if I don't feel safe, not only with whoever I had a problem with, friends that you just could have, that you deal with sometimes, but you still got that trust with them, and even the cops that's supposed to protect and serve. I'm shook at this number. So now do I go back, like you say, and everything that I went through in the justice system, incarcerating or dealing with people or nationalities, ethnicities, heritage, whatever, dealing with all these different people, now who do I trust?
Well, yeah, I was going to go back to that. So you get back, and then, see, it's going to happen every time. You get back, you have your family, you have your brotherhood, you have your people. Sorry, there's water. What kind of village or community do you create for yourself that you feel loved, or you feel
protection?
You feel home. And that's a wild word you just used, because I mean, I wouldn't say love is synonymous with protection. But for me personally, the idea is that you use the word protection right off the bat. Like, is that up there with love? Like where you come from, like protection is as valuable as love.
Protection is definitely valuable. Love.
Okay.
It's hand in hand.
Okay.
Because if I trust you, I love you. If I love you, there's nothing I wouldn't do for you.
Okay.
I would protect you.
Got it.
As much as whatever it has, with all the might, all the strength, all the love and emotion I have inside me. Okay. That I would protect the one that's sitting next to me, that we eat together, we wake up together, sleep on the same couch, the same bed, we waking up, we're going to activities, we're getting to know each other. You know, we're meeting each other, moms and parents and things like that, and we're having kids together now as young men. And it's like, you know, we're coming over, we're going to birthdays, and it's like, this is my everyday buddy. Okay. This is somebody, or this is every other day buddy, or this is somebody that I could relate to. Mm-hmm. Now let me form this strength of love. Love turns into protection.
And did you find that when you came back?
And I found that when I came back.
And so how do you preserve that?
I collected, I molded it, and I grew it.
Uh-huh. And so, but going back to prison, or going back to jail or prison,
yes.
Can you preserve it then if you're in prison?
You're more vulnerable. You're more lonely in prison.
Uh-huh.
You're much more lonely and vulnerable in prison. You gotta ask for food. You gotta ask for money. You gotta beg your homies to write you a letter. Jeez. You know, things like that. You don't get that same protection. So now you form a protection inside of that environment. Uh-huh. So maybe you know a couple street cats, couple friends, couple family members, and now that's why the incarceration system is actually messed up too.
How so?
Because you're treated uncivilized. You're not treated like human beings. You get beat up, you get tossed, you get moved around. We have no lawyers. People don't know about credit. They don't know about lawyers. They don't know about the justice system. They don't know about the laws to serve. They don't even know about the commandments of the United States. Mm-hmm. So a lot of us, especially in our environment, is not taught these things, especially in our school.
So now that you're out, you're a father, you're back in your community.
Yeah.
What do you do to preserve that or stay there?
Stay there.
Like what have you changed now from Hamp 16, 15 years old to Hamp now? What's the change?
Oh, okay. The change is that growth of instead of encouraging people to sell drugs or encouraging to go out and feel threatened by the police. It's ways like Ujamaa. This place is a beautiful place. Yeah. You know, it's a beautiful environment to grow as young men, to grow without the violence, to grow, to bring others in for housing, because it's all mental, for mental stability, to vent, things like that, to can help you control or help you protect or anything, your beliefs or whatever that you believe in or trying to do. Mm-hmm. So I surround myself around positivity. Positivity is key.
Well, is it tough to find positivity in the environment that you were in before?
Is it? Woo-wee. Boy, so social media is even dangerous nowadays.
Yeah, no, it definitely is.
So it's like an environment. Yes, I just try to, what keeps me going is my kids. So I just try to, like voting rallies. Ujamaa, I've been going out to voting rallies to change. Things like that, as far as the community, not to take out of kids' districts. They're trying to take away free, I heard, quote unquote, is they're trying to take away free lunches for kids in the districts, taking away supplies, taking away their after school programs, but giving it into war, things like that. More guns, more criminalizing things. And how you think these things get shipped and get moved. It's like, why did you take it from our kids? So I'm putting up with the fight. That's what's different. Instead of putting up with the fight out there, and I'm gonna do it a more political way, more educated way, more positive way, and get really involved.
Well, before we wrap up, real quick, you said selling drugs. And do you think selling drugs is a means of, hey, I want everybody to get high, or is it because, hey, I need to make money?
I need to make money.
I need to put food on the table.
I'm like my story. Use it for example, not having nowhere to go, hungry, starving, don't want to steal from the store, but you might have to take that chance, and then you get criminalized when you take a chance. So it's all these stages of being homeless after use. Our homeless rates are up right now. So to change the criminalization, to change the crime, change the thing, give these kids somewhere to go, give these kids something to learn, give these kids something to eat. You know, instead of going to steal clothes or go to Macy's, going wherever they're going to do, to sell drugs, to getting other people, high or kids or putting themselves in that position.
That's interesting you bring that up because like you said you lived in an abandoned house. Would you have verified yourself as homeless at 15?
Yes.
Okay. That's interesting because because there's connotations to the word homeless. Yeah. And the second we say it, it's like, oh, okay, because everybody can imagine. They can't relate, but they can imagine. If you don't got a roof over your head, then what are the connotations with that? What are the prices that come with that? But when you talk about getting civically engaged, it's about providing a place for kids and people to go that don't have anywhere to go, right?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay.
So that's one thing that I'm fighting for, or that I'm working on and trying to do right now with the program that I'm with, the environment and the team that I work for and work with. That's the difference is involving my mind, learning, seeking the truth, looking for knowledge, looking for understanding, and believing in something that can be changed and change it.
So we talked about Hamp at 15, Hamp 29. If you were to be able to say anything, words of advice to Hamp at 39, what would you say to him?
That's a good one. I wasn't expecting that.
Neither was I.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to go back. I would never go back because of the knowledge I have now. Yeah. But I would.
You mean go back where?
Go back to that place of mind. Okay. It's not just a place of living. It's a place of mind.
You talking about prison or
mind?
Got it.
The brain.
Yeah.
The brain. My brain is more stronger than it used to be. Okay. More open. So the message I would give him is to don't let what you experience hurt you to a point mentally where you can't achieve your dreams.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for the time, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.